Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Speaks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please, as you come in, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you got the notification bell on so you know when I go live. But tonight, we're going to have an interesting conversation. And our topic is going to be dating. Dating in 2022, the struggles, the challenges. I've been off this dating scene for a very long time, but I'm constantly hearing discussions surrounding just the dating culture and how hard it is out there. So just to familiarize you with myself, again, I'm Chic Speaks, and I teach women how to get married, how to identify that quality man that's marriage material, that man that's not wanting to string you along. But basically, I'm here to provide all of the teas on what you should be looking for in a man. I am a married woman of 18 years, happily married woman of 18 years, as well as a mother, a working mom. So I understand the struggles of a woman as we try to identify someone who's basically worth our time. So I do understand that, even though I'm not in the dating market. But what I come on my platform to do is to help you navigate through that dating process, because I understand that a lot of women don't really know what to look for uh, when they're looking for a potential husband. Like, you hear a lot of women say, hey, I want to be married one day, but they don't really know what that looks like or really what that means. They just know, okay, you're married, but when you stop and ask them, like, okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? I don't think they truly know. So I want to talk about that and get into the details surrounding just marriage and things that ladies, as we're navigating through the whole dating world, things to look for, like qualities and characteristics, because I think a lot of women today are frustrated because they're following suit what everyone else is doing. It's like we live in this trend type world where it's about the latest trend. And I feel like right now the latest trend is internet dating, meeting somebody on social media or all these dating apps. When I got married, it was 2004. So during that time, they may have had dating apps, but I wasn't keen to them. So I don't think, they were as big as they are now. Just the internet in general just wasn't a thing the way it is now in 2022. So I think that's something we all can agree on. So back in the day, when I was dating and when I got married, people kind of met one another the old fashioned way by like just getting out, going out and about, going to the park, maybe at church, at a restaurant, a concert. It was more of, to me, like, what you see is what you get versus someone hiding behind a screen, portraying themselves to be one way when they're like something completely different. I guess you guys remember when the whole catfish came out and they had the show and everything, and it's just like catfish. And I think that was like the beginning of when we started hearing about people trying to court people from, say, over the internet or the phone versus like, your old school traditional way of just meeting someone just out and about. So I really think that a lot of the challenges that's going on right now when it comes to just the dating market is that people are just trying to take more of a lazy way out. It's like what they say, if you ever heard anyone say, we live in a microwave society where we just want things like quick, fast, and in a hurry. And when it comes to finding a partner, a life partner, a husband or wife, you can't have that mindset of, okay, I want it now. It doesn't work that way. It is a process. And that process actually starts with you and the internal works that you do. And I talk a lot about being intentional over here on my channel. For any of you who are new to my channel, Chic Speaks, I'm big on accountability and taking ownership, responsibility, and all of that, because it starts with you. Before you can get out there and try to find that good man, you have to get yourself together and make sure that you're presenting yourself as a good woman. Because of course, while you wanting a good man, he want a good woman too, right? So, it's a give and take type situation. And I think that's another issue that's going on today, where people aren't moving with that in mind, the whole give and take. It's like everybody's out for self. Like, okay, I'm just going out with him, because I want a free meal. Or he's saying, I'm going out with her because I just want a quick hookup. So like, listen, so you're going to constantly have that conflict there when you have individuals like going into that dating market with just a completely different agenda. And what I've come to learn, or what I've heard when it comes to just even like with the dating apps, is that a lot of people talk about they're just hookup apps, like where people just kind of create this profile and it's just about just hooking up, nothing more, nothing less. It's almost like what's understood don't need to be said. But though you have some people out there who are genuinely going out there and signing up for these apps because they want to find love. So it's just like the struggle. So I want to come on here and talk about that. I have some videos that I want to share as well with some men, one video with a man and 2 video with women, talking about just the dating culture today, and how it's just showing, just how different it is and the frustration that people rightfully have. And as I said, I think a lot of the frustration and things come from the unrealistic expectations that people have going into the dating market. So again, as I say, it starts with your mind. What are you looking to get out of this experience? And then you have to ask yourself, okay, what I'm looking for, is it realistic that I'm going to find that here? So we we got to ask ourselves these questions. So therefore, we're not wasting our time. So I have a video I want to share with you. Thanks for anyone who's joined the live. Please definitely like, share, subscribe, engage, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, as we get into the discussion tonight on just the dating culture that's going on. And if you're in these streets and you're dating, let me know, like, what's going on? Like, what are the challenges you're experiencing, or, people are experiencing? And we're very solution oriented over here. So I definitely want to provide solutions to how we can navigate through all of that to get to what we want. And if that's going to be ladies, for you to get a husband, listen, sis gonna be over here giving you the gems on, the things that you need to be looking for to quickly identify if this person is serious about you. So let's get into this video that I have that I want to get into first. I thought it was kind of, it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, is it really like that out here in these streets? So let's get into it. Fair use.
You know that guy I'm talking to?
Who, Ethan?
No, Tyler.
What about Chad?
I stopped talking to Chad because he introduced me to Michael.
I thought it was James.
No, James is the guy I met on Tinder but had really bad commitment issues.
I thought it was Brad.
No, Brad was the one that ghosted me, and that's when I started talking to Garrett.
I thought Luke ghosted you.
No, Luke was the one I met at a party, and we talked for 3 weeks until I found out he lived out of state.
I thought Nick lived out of state.
No, Nick lives in state.
What happened to Jeremy?
Jeremy was the one that got the girlfriend Steve was talking to.
Wait, who's Steve? Did you guys talk?
No, but I did talk to Steve's friend, Harry.
I forgot about Harry.
Yeah, me too. It's okay.
Didn't that happen with Evan?
Yeah, well, Evan and I talked for 6 months until I found out he didn't want a relationship.
Didn't that happen with Jake too?
Yeah, but Jake was the one that stopped talking to me because he dropped out of college.
Oh, dang.
So.
Listen, how real is that? So this, the video, I found it kind of hilarious, but at the same time, very sad, because she went through so many different people and just as casual, and her friends like, wait a minute, what? Well, when did this person come into play? What happened to that person? And how many times have we been in conversation with somebody and they bring up this new name and you're like, wait, hold up. Where's Josh? What happened to him? Oh, girl, yeah, we been broke up. Yeah, I've been seeing Michael since last Sunday. And they're so used to these relationships kind of coming and flying by to where it's just like nothing, out with the old, in with the new. And in today's time, old is like a matter of like a month or two. Like it's just crazy. So that video, I think it's very real and and sad all at the same time, that that's the state that we're in. And I think it's made people become desensitized when it comes to certain things that takes place within dating, like someone ghosting you. I did a video probably maybe a couple of weeks ago. You can go check that out, about this whole ghosting culture and how you'll just be talking to someone and they'll just randomly just stop taking your calls, block you. And you're like, okay, what happened? Like, you don't even know what happened. And they're on to the next. And again, as I said, I think a lot of this is rooted from just the internet dating. A lot of times people are meeting people over the internet. And I always say, over the internet, you can be whoever you want to be. It's like you can be like this chameleon. It's just like, oh, you like books? I like books too. That man ain't read in about 5 years, but he can become who you want him to become. He's read your bio, he's looked at your pictures. So he can just turn into that person that you've already, written down what you're looking for. Whereas, say, if you were just running into Michael in public and you're at the park, he don't know those things about you. So he don't know what you like or dislike. So it's like legit, really, in that conversation, it's just a matter of, okay, if there's some type of connection. And I think that because so many people have gotten so used to just hiding behind their computer or their electronic device, to where they don't have those people skills like that anymore. How often have you been in conversations where people talk about, people don't like to talk on the phone anymore. Everybody just want to text. Like, it's so crazy, on the internet, or when you hear about these stories or with these celebrities and, they get to showing receipts and they're showing text messages. They're having these long drawn out conversations through a text message. The words are misspelled. You like, okay, well, what that mean? What that stand for? I ain't never seen that acronym before, because it's like they don't know how to communicate anymore. And it's actually low key messing them up, because they're putting everything in writing, to where when they make somebody mad, they got all the receipts right there in writing. Whereas, back in the day before, this whole texting was so big, y'all remember we would be on the phone, you three-way. Remember the whole thing, three-way? I'm about the three-way, and the party line they had back in the day, people were on the phone. So during those times, it was actually difficult to kind of prove maybe if certain conversations or things that took place, if it was maybe over the phone, because you were talking. I don't think people typically were just recording phone calls. So it was almost like a he say, she say. But now today, we're in this culture of everybody's using their device. So they're taking pictures, they're sending text messages. So it's almost like any drama that we're seeing on the internet today, there's text messages involved. Like, that is the key receipt. So I can just only imagine, like, in court, and then the judges, when they say, do you have evidence to present? And you're having all these text messages to present, or you're taking somebody, you're like, okay, you're on check out this Instagram, so we've heard how a lot of rappers are getting caught up because they're putting all their business on the gram. And now that's able, I think in some places, it's able to be used like as evidence against you. So it's just like people have set themselves up by being lazy and being addicted to their phone. And so I think that a lot of these issues that we're experiencing, or people are experiencing when it comes to dating, it stemmed from just wanting to just take the lazy way to, be lazy and not put in the work, meaning not like get out of your comfort zone and go talk to somebody, talk to somebody face to face, because there was a time that was a thing. Now, granted, for our millennials out here, they're probably like, when were they doing that? Because it's been a thing for the internet for, I would say, internet has probably been big for about at least a good hard solid 15 years. So, a lot of these millennials back when, when I say the phone conversation was like a big thing, when you're staying on the phone all night, with your boo, you're falling asleep on the phone. they don't really know nothing about that, not too much. So that, they probably were like little kids back then. So you tell them the stories like back in the day, we would just be on the phone, just talking. We weren't texting. We would meet up at the park. Y'all remember meeting up at the roller rink, at the skating rink. We going outside skating. We're riding bikes. It was a lot of kind of interaction with one another. But again, if you think about it, it made it easier to be able to get to know somebody, to truly get to know. A lot of times, maybe we were talking with somebody that we like grew up with. How often today we hear about people or couples saying, like, say if they're 30, they're saying that they've been with their mate since they were like 15. You're really not hearing that anymore because, again, that's the millennials. And the way they communicated with one another was just on a whole different wavelength. So they didn't communicate in a way that made that made them kind of truly get to know each other. They grew up in this microwave society where, out with the old, in with the new. And it's very unfortunate. And we hear these conversations of the contradictions of how, like we hear Brittany, what's her name? Brittany Renner, is that her name? Her name is always talked about with how she's, alleged with this guy. But though what she does, you have a lot of men that do that very same thing, but they will certainly say, listen, we can do it, but sis, you can't, and we get so stuck on well, why can't I, versus accepting the idea that whether we like it or not, or it makes sense or not, the reality is it's a truth. Women, as we're in conversations, how often we're in conversations having dialogue, wondering how many women he's been with. Like that too much, that don't really come up. That's really not a thing for us to be concerned about how many bodies a man has had. But guess what? It's a whole thing with them. They will have a whole think piece on how many bodies this woman had. I was listening to, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Lapeef Network, but I was listening to one of their shows this week. And they were discussing this woman. I can't think of her name right now, but she was a rapper I'd never heard of. But she had admitted she was doing a little interview and they were like, yo, how many bodies you got? She was like, wow, let me think. Y'all, sis said she had about 2,000 bodies, and that's between men and women. So she was like, between men and women, I had about 2,000 bodies. When I say they've been dragging this woman all across the doggone internet because she said that, and even on her Instagram, I got to try to figure out what her name is because, like I said, I'd never heard of her, but she was like, yes, I started having sex when I think she said she was 12. And right now, when she was doing that interview, she was 27. So think about it. Like she's been getting it in for definitely well over 10 years. So we had like 15 years. So she's saying, I think somebody listened and was doing the math, adding 2, carrying the 1. And I think they came up with about, maybe about 10 people a day or something. Like, listen, when I say them men was doing the math on that they was doing the math. Like they had this whole segment on trying to figure out, okay, how can we get to 2,000 bodies, and what profession was she in, or did it have anything to do with the line of work? They threw out there, hey, perhaps she was a stripper. Y'all know it comes up in conversations. People throw out there that, strippers be doing some strange things for some change. Listen, I don't know about that life. I ain't never been in years ago for like back in the day, with the bachelorette parties, the ladies that go to the strip club, the male, review thing. But I've never gone into like a woman strip club environment. So I don't know nothing about that life, but I know today, like a lot of women will go there and they'll even go there with their men. Listen, if that's your thing, do your thing. But that's not what I'm on or me and my husband are on. But they they threw out there that perhaps maybe she was a dancer and she was making extra money from the customers, because from what they say, there's a lot of strippers to where they make that little extra change on the side from customers. So when they did the math, they were like, listen, if sis putting in a 40-hour a week, work shift, so she can easily get, come and counter with 10 men per day if she getting them little side situations. So they came up with how it's feasible for her to sleep with 2,000 men. As she said, she made it clear, listen, men and women, listen, like, I don't discriminate. I'm an equal opportunist over here. Yes, I was getting it in with both he and she. So she meant that thing. And I don't think you go around for something like that. That's not something to go around saying if that's not true, because it's not a good look. So I definitely believed her. And even if she didn't have about 2,000 bodies, the fact that that's what she feel like it was is a whole problem in itself. That means she just knows that she's been with a lot of people to where 2,000 is the number that came to mind. So ladies, although we don't like that it's this double standard, we can't move the way they move, because they are definitely out here judging us. And that's too why a lot of women are having problems with this dating scene, because everybody wants to put all their life and everything also on the internet. So everybody that they're dating and all that, y'all, if I hear couple goals one more time when it comes to these celebrities, it's a whole illusion, you know, because I think a lot of times people get together because it's a good look. It's like a marketing ploy. So then when these folks break up, y'all, these people be ready. These onlookers, these people like me and you be ready to end it all when these relationships end. Because they were like, oh no. Listen, these people nearly lost their mind when they heard that, when they thought that, who was that recently broke up? I know Moneybagg Yo and Ari Lennox, I think they had called themselves breaking up. I don't know if that was real or not, but listen, people don't take too well with their little favorite couples breaking up. Who was that? Who else was that? Somebody else just, what's his name? It's another rapper, and that I'm thinking of too, that they had his girlfriend, her fiance, because he's engaged, had put out there, yeah, you know, I'm on the market or whatever. Them folks lost their mind. So it's like people really hold on to the relationship status of their favorite celebrities. And I think that because they do that, they got a false pretense of what reality is. So as they're going through their normal life, they're measuring the quality of man that they're encountering to these men that they're seeing, the celebrities that they're seeing on the gram. They're like, well, he ain't got the money Moneybagg Yo got. I mean, look at his car. You know, that's a nice, you know, Honda, but, you know, Moneybagg Yo, you know, he riding in the Maserati. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all know I'm not lying about this stuff. Like, people are low key, like really comparing regular everyday people to these celebrities. They really are. Couple, like, they're like, no, like, I want somebody to be down for me. Like, Cardi B is with Offset. Like, what? You know, the people that people be idolizing, that's what gets me, because it's just like, sis, that's what you want. That's what you like. Oh, that's what you want. And it's a lot of these struggles when it comes to dating. I really think that it's just the pressure and what's the word? Like, I think a lot of women are operating in delusion. You know, they're delusional because it's just like, sis, you know, that's not real, right? You know, that's not real. You know, him over there, you know, that guy over here that just looked at you, you know, that's real, right? Like, it's like they get the lines blurred between what's reality and what's not. So let me show you another video. I want to show you a video of a male's perspective when it comes to this dating. And listen, he was not lying. Like, listen, y'all finna hear from the brother. He's like, listen, it's a struggle out here, fellas. So let's get into this next video. Thank you for joining. Please definitely like, share, subscribe. If the content is moving you rocking what you hearing what I'm saying, listen, the Cash App is up there, $ speak 50. But let's get into this video with this man saying, yo, fellas, like, it's hard out here for a pimp. Okay.
2022. Guys, that reality is good is no longer good enough. You remember back in the days, just 5 years ago, man, like, you could just be a regular dude, work a regular job, and you could still find you a decent girl. Those days are long gone, buddy. You are now competing with the highest of highest value men the men with the most status, the men with the most money for the same women. Women now have access to all groups of men, all statuses of men. So that means the average guy is going to get left behind. If you don't level up, if you don't start improving, if you don't start making money, if you don't get in better shape, if you don't improve your looks, you are going to get left behind.
Listen, was he lying? Y'all know that man wasn't lying. How often are we hearing women talk about what this man needs to bring to the table? Because remember, sis is like, I am the table. If I hear that one more time, I am the table. So they're wanting these men to come with just all the bells and the whistle. He need to be 6 feet plus, nice body fit, no kids. He need to be a 6-figure earner. He need to pay all the bills. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he need to have he need to be able to do that thing in the bedroom. Like he need to be able to do all of that. So you turn, okay, well, sis, what you doing? Oh, I'm just showing up. I'm just showing up. I am the table. Okay, well, sis, it looked like you're gonna go to the gym or no, I ain't going to the gym. I like my man fit, but this is just how I am. He just better accept me for what y'all know that these women, and some of you might be watching, and where we got this expectation of what we want to come from our man, but hell will freeze over. He's trying to mess around and think he can have an expectation on us, especially when it comes to our parents. We got all the excuses and the reason in the world as to why we can't come through with getting our weight, our bodies, getting all that under control. But when it comes to him, we ain't trying to hear no excuse. We are not trying to hear no excuse. We are moving on to the next period. Like there ain't nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. So this brother, he was on point. He was spot on when he talked about just what it's like out here in the dating world and the mindset of the women. Now, here's my thing, what they say, the caveat. I'm not telling women to not have an expectation. What I'm saying is that we have to be realistic with our expectations. And what I mean by being realistic is that we have to line up. Okay, we have to look at what it is that we're asking for and compare and line it up to what it is that we're giving. Like what they say, the math got a math. So if I'm asking for, okay, I want him to be a high earner. I want him to be attractive. I want him to be fit. We have to stop and ask ourselves of those things, what is it that we also bring to the table for those categories? Hey, Miss V, whatever you want, you say whatever you want, you need to be able to deliver as well, period, poo. That's what I say. Like, listen, we can't be asking for the world and then all we got is a knife and a fork like that. Like it doesn't work that way, but there are so many women who feel like it does. And I think that there are more women who have more of that delusional mindset than men. Because how often, a lot of times, we don't really too often hear men running around talking about what they're looking for in a woman. Most of the time when I'm hearing conversations, it's stemming from the things that women are talking about that they're looking for, the unrealistic things, because we have to also factor in, okay, we want our man to make X amount of money. Sis, have you checked the statistics to see how much money the average man makes? That's a whole situation right there, because if you're somebody that's not really come with much, but you're wanting an earner that's in the 2%. Remember I talked about that math need to be mathing. It's not going to math. So you're going to be single forever. So that's what I say. We have to be realistic, period, poo. We got to be realistic. And because if we don't, we're only setting ourselves up. And I think if more women started to be realistic, more women will be getting the things that they want, such as marriage, family, children. I often see that women, as they get older, get close to 40, the reality starts to set in. And then that list starts changing. And then they start being open to dating people that they weren't open to dating before. But guess what? Even those people at that point aren't really checking for them anymore, because many of them have already found somebody, or they were like, okay, well, you've aged out, or you don't look like you did when you were 30, at 40, because as we get older, most women, I'm not, I'm different, because I know my body, I'm a mother of 3, but I still have a small frame, but I do understand, and I'm a woman that's 40 plus. So I do understand that most women 40 plus, they got some weight on them. They got some extra weight on them. They're not looking like how they looked in their 20s or even at 30. But these men are like, listen, I'm still able to pull someone who looks like what you used to look like. So I'm going for that. And there are a lot of women who are pissed off about that, because it's like, how dare you? 10 years ago, you was chasing me down. And they're like, well, yeah, but 10 years ago, you looked different. Do you look like you did 10 years ago? And the reality for most women, as I talk to my sisters, most women, and probably even other cultural groups, but as I talk to my sisters, and the reality is we don't. Most of us don't look like how we used to. Now, here's the thing. You can listen. I got my sister, Miss Veronica Ferris, on. She came in the house. I appreciate you for showing up and supporting. She has a whole channel out there talking about, helping women get their sexy back and get their weight under control. Listen, sis cover you mind, body, and soul. So definitely check her out at Veronica Ferris on YouTube. So over here, I talked to you about, once you have all that under wraps, then how you take that and utilize those things that you learn and apply it to getting what you want, because it starts from self. You got to develop, grow, nourish. You got to do all that work to yourself first before you can kind of jump out there and try to get in a dating scene and start talking about what kind of good man you're looking for. You first got to be a good woman. You got to be, as they say, like if you're in business and you're wanting the customers, you got to have a good product. So I look at you as the product. You have to be a good product. You can't be a poor product and then want to complain about, okay, nobody's trying to come and take you off the shelf. Like, listen, I'm trying to keep it simple for y'all. Miss Veronica Ferris said, that's why women need to first take care of themselves physically and mentally. Get it together before you start having all these expectations on the other party. Listen, she said it. She said it. Like, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And that's, something that I hear a lot of men talk about, is that there's so many expectations on us, but we're not allowed to have an expectation. And I definitely do not feel that is fair. I don't like to hear women complain about hearing that a man, or they complain about hearing men say, hey, I don't want an overweight woman. I want a fit woman. Like, sis, how are you complaining about that when for years, for eons, women been walking around talking about they don't want no short man. They don't want no small penis man. They don't want no broke man. Like, there's whole songs out there made about what women don't want. But the minute a man expresses what he don't want, oh, hell, we got to put a hashtag he canceled, hashtag he ain't ish. If I hear one more hashtag, and those hashtags are started by women, I've yet to hear a hashtag that was started by a man. It's like men are not entitled to have feelings. It's like they can't have no preference, no expectation. They just got to be. They just got to take whatever it is that we give. And I'm here to say that's not fair. And until women as a collective accept that is not fair, they're going to be in that situation. They got to come out of this la la land. I feel like, it's a fantasy world to think that you can ask for the world and not have anything to bring to the table. Sis, I'm here to tell you, you are not the table. You are not the table. Let me tell you what the table is. The table is the whole situation. So you don't have a table if you ain't got the man. The table is the situation. You got to have the table first, before you try to get the chair. Sis, you the chair. You the chair. You the chair, he the chair, together, y'all damn table. I just came up with that analogy. Listen. So throw the whole table out the way. You ain't got no damn table. You still sitting on the floor. You ain't got nobody, you on the floor. Some you remember back in the day when you first moved in your spot and you ain't had no furniture, or you just moved out, or you just left your man and now you're trying to start over. Sis, that's where you are. But guess what? It's okay, and you don't have to be there forever. You can get you a table, but for now, you on them throw pillows. You on them throw pillows. I'm here to tell you, you on the floor. You are on the floor. But it's up to you if you want to stay on the floor. So over here on my channel, Chic Speaks, I actually tell you how you can get the table. The table comes with the man. You know how they say it's a package deal. You get these deals on, okay, when you buy this, they throw this in. Typically how you go buy the table, okay, they're going to give you the chairs. It's not really usually. Sometimes they give you, sometimes it's a separate situation. Sometimes they might give you the chairs. But sis, you're not the table. So get that out your head, because I promise you, the moment you start thinking differently and stop thinking of yourself as the table, mountains will be moved. You'll just see you have a whole different kind of experience when it comes to just men and how they perceive you. Because if you're out here telling the ladies and speaking this out, this craziness out there, men are hearing this. You're not turning that off. You're not talking crazy with your girls, and then when you find a man, or when you come in contact with a man, you speak in a different language. People are who they are, and you're being judged by who you are. And if your response from men isn't favorable, sis, you got to reflect back. You got to go within to try to understand, why is it that men are responding to me this way? Like, what is it that I'm giving? So you might need to get feedback from somebody who you trust is going to actually tell you the truth. I mean, I think it's good for women to get feedback from a trusted man. If you got brothers, a dad, somebody, because y'all know a man gonna keep it real with you. Get that feedback, because they'll let you know. I'm not gonna even say go to one of your girls, because her ish might be just as messed up as yours, if not worse. So I ain't gonna say go on over there to Keisha, but you can call Michael. I'm just saying that you really gotta get that, what I say, somebody that's not biased, or somebody that that's going to really kick it real to you, that's going to really, and then they might tell you some things that you ain't never heard before. But guess what? It don't mean that it's lies just because you never heard it before. It could be the first time that somebody was actually being honest with you. You got to look at it that way. And I think a lot of times we as women, we want to just continue to go to that person who's going to massage our ego and tell us what we want to hear. And guess what? That ain't doing you no good, because more than likely that person who you going to that's going to tell you what you want to hear, she in the same situation as you. She ain't got no man either. She don't have no man either. Like, think about all your girls. How many of them are actually married? They might have somebody that they're, smashing, but think about it. How many of them are actually married? Because the last I checked, it was about maybe 30% of Black people that are married. So I'm going to say it's a good chance that most of your girls are not married. Most of them probably ain't even got an actual man, to keep it real. they probably don't even have a man. Miss Veronica Ferris says, change your mindset and be willing to do the work. And the work is you. What is it about you that you can't, the man you want, or why you keep attracting the same caliber of man, period? Like that, you have to go within, because you ever heard this? The law of attraction, like energy, like gravitates. So like, if you're a good person, you're likely to attract other good people. But if you're a mean, nasty person, you're going to attract that same energy. You ever notice how bad guys run around with other bad guys? Like, you don't see no bad guys running around with some good guys. They're running around with knuckleheads just like them. That's just the way it is. Good people are running around with other good people. That's why you see good people don't be interested in running around with a bad. Listen, y'all, it's real basic. If you take it just to that level, it will really make a difference. And it really can start having you to think differently and be like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense, because at the end of the day, if you've dated 5 people and had similar experience with all 5, who's the common denominator? Now, I'm not saying nothing wasn't wrong with all 5 of those people. What I'm saying is that you chose all 5 of those people. So sis, you got to stop and ask yourself, well, damn, why I chose that type of person 5 times. and they don't even know each other. Because most of the time when you date somebody, they don't be knowing each other, so it's just like, well, damn, like how I got 5 habitual liars. What the hell? What am I missing? What, am I blinded by these men looks because I love a tall, dark chocolate man? Do they all have this in common? So was that the thing? Was I tunnel vision? Was that the thing that I was focused on? Were they all a good lay? Was that the only thing that I was focused on? Because I guarantee you, like you'll see, as I said, with all of the men, there's something that they have in common. And that means that you're overlooking the characteristics of the flaws. You're overlooking the flaws because you have this tunnel vision. And that's what we got to get away of, because overlooking those flaws will get us in trouble. I promise you, sis, it's going to get you in trouble. Ms. Veronica Ferris says, go and get yourself together. It starts with you. It does. And nobody can get you together other than you. And as I say, you may need help and support to help you navigate through that, which means you may need to go and hire a counselor, a life coach, a fitness trainer. Like, listen, do what you need to do. Just like when we got issues or things going on with our house, like something needs to be repaired, our vehicles, something needs to be repaired, something's going on with our children, we're quick to go take them to the doctor. But when something's going on with us, oh, we just got this mindset. Oh, I mean, it's fine. It's all right. But guess what? We can dang sure identify the stuff that's not all right with the other person. Oh, y'all know we can sit and talk for hours and talk about what Keith done. Like, we can do that. We can sit and talk for hours, and not one time it comes up as to say, yeah, I guess I could have been. If we even get to that point, it takes years, and that's in that quiet time when we see we still by our damn self and we start to try to self-reflect. Miss Veronica Fair says, yes, you are the common denominator in my Maury's voice. Listen, let me tell somebody they the common denominator. People do not want to hear that. They will damn fall around that. You done said every man that you done dated since goddamn high school have all been no good. You really think that all men are like that? But though you can acknowledge somebody else that you see has a good man, even if it's 1 or 2 people that got that good man. The point is, you're able to see that good men do exist. Even if you're not seeing them in large numbers, you see that they do exist. So it's a numbers thing. What are the odds that in 15 years, you have not come across one of those good men? I'm just sorry. I do not believe that men are trash like that to where you only got one good man in a million. Like, I don't believe that. I think that a lot of times it goes back to what type of man that we're focused on. Like I said, that tunnel vision. So many women, when we get in our conversation, a lot of women lead with, a girl, what kind of man you like? She's instantly going to the physical characteristics. Like, she's not going to like character or anything like that. She's strictly going to, girl, he need to be 6 feet tall. He need to have a 6-pack. Like, that has absolutely no bearing on this man's character, what type of partner he'll be, what type of husband, what type of father, how reliable he'll be. Like, somebody's height has nothing. Listen, PSA, just in case nobody never told you. His height has no bearing on the quality of man he will be for you and your children if you guys have children together. I'm just saying, it has nothing to do with it. His height don't, his eye color don't, his sex game don't, his smile don't, none of that. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So we need to identify what's the most important characteristics we want in our man. That's what we got to do when we start looking. This is like after, again, we've done our self-work. After that, we get our little list together and we write down what are those characteristics you want in your man. After you write your list down, you bump those characteristics up to you. Ask yourself, okay, am I bringing these same things to the table as well? If not, why? And next, how can I bring this to the table? Because men today, as they say, my mom always say, don't no man want no sorry woman. The man may not look for you to maybe work if you guys were to get married. But what he will, I guarantee you, be looking for, he's going to see what kind of substance you have. Like, are you a go-getter? Like, are you something beyond just a pretty face, a nice body, a big rack, a big butt? He's looking for more than that. I heard that somebody did a study and they were like, men, they did this survey on men and they put all these different characteristics and qualities that they looked for in women. And mind you, these are men, I think it was maybe like the survey taken on men that's maybe like 35 or 40 and up. Sex was the last on the list. So what I'm saying is that as men get older, that goes down low on the tolling pole. Like it might be top or up there when he's 22, but by the time he's 42, that is not it. He's looking for other things. He's looking at your personality. Are you nice? Are you pleasant? Is he somebody that he wants to come home to? There are so many men who don't come home because they don't like who they go home to. So they just choose to stay out there in them streets. Do you want that to be you? So we have to also evaluate our attitudes. You know, you have to ask yourself, well, would you want to be around you? It's like, would I want to be around me? You know, because I tell women all the time, you ask yourself, would I date me? You know, that's how you do that self-check-in. Look at yourself in the mirror. Would I date me? Ask yourself that question because it's a real question. And I get women who say they never ask themselves that. I ask myself that. I do it quite regularly because it's my way of doing a self check-in to make sure that I'm good with what it is that I'm giving. And this is from a mental, a spiritual, a physical, it's all aspects of me. I do that check-in to ask, would I want to date me? And today, and it has been since I can remember, my answer is yes, because I know that there's so many things that I can bring. I can have a real conversation with you, a thought-provoking conversation with you. You know, I know I have the physical appearance, you know, I have myself together. So I know I'm something to look at. Listen, I'm not blind. I know that. And then I'm a realist. You know, I speak from reality. I don't live in this fantasy land where I try to tell myself what I want to hear. I'm okay with taking feedback from people, listening to the things that somebody has to say about me and ask myself, wow, like, is that really how I am? Let me maybe talk to some other people. Let me see maybe what I can do to try to work on that. These are things that you have to do if you want to change how you're being perceived. Now, if you just don't give a damn, then do you, but be okay with how you're being received by the world. But if you want a different response, then I suggest that you do what it is that I'm suggesting you do. And that's do that self-check-in, have conversations with people who know you and get feedback on how you're perceived by people, you know, by other people. Let's see. Miss Veronica Fair says, love your content. Hey guys, please hit like, share, and subscribe. She Speaks is awesome. Oh, and make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you, sis. Please go ahead. If you can, please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you got the notification bell on so you know when I go live. And also, you know, if you want to show your girl some love, hit the Cash App at $Speaks50. So again, like we can change the game. We can do some things different, but it starts with us I guess coming to the decision that it's time to do something different. So I have one more video I'd like to share. Again, you know, this is coming from the woman's perspective. So listen, I want to hear you ladies out, you know, but I'm also going to have something to say. So let's get into this video.
Ladies, this is painfully true. And if I'm speaking openly and honestly, it's on us. It's our fault. The reason why these men are like this. For the women that actually want relationships, we all need to come together and agree that we're going to end hookup culture. You are not going to open your legs for a man that is not even giving you commitment. That's going to be a no. Men are acting the way that they are acting because women are allowing them to. If he is not getting what he wants, which is the box, he's going to do what he needs to do to get it. And if that takes being a good man, committing, taking you on dates, courting you correctly, then they're going to do it, and they're all going to come together and start being men again. So ladies, no more opening up your pum pum to men. 2022.
Listen, sis did a PSA. I'm here for it. We have to start moving differently, having a standard about ourselves, because if we keep moving in a manner of which the expectation is, oh, I don't have to come with anything because she is just going to be open and available, then we're going to get whatever it is that they're coming through with at 10 o'clock at night. Because more than likely he's not coming through during the daytime, and he dang sure ain't trying to take you on no date. He ain't trying to spend no money. At best, maybe that first night, he'd maybe take you to Popeyes, but it starts with you and how you present yourself, because he's going to follow your lead. If he sees that you're presenting yourself with value, someone who has a high standard of themselves, who values himself, he's going to match that and meet you where you are. So if your standard is down here, he's not going to try to rise above what your own standard is. Where they do that at? You typically don't do that. You rise to the expectation that person has set. So if your standard or your bar is up here, then guess what? He's going to rise up there. It's just the way it is. Listen, I don't make up the rules. I just come here to remind you of them, whether you like them or not. But that's the reality of it. So what this sister is saying is that when we have low standards for ourselves, then we get men who are coming at us from with a low standard approach. Remember, I said, listen, you're just good for Popeyes or Crystals, maybe a pizza. Like you're not getting no 5-star treatment. You dang sure ain't getting taken home to mama and getting a ring. Girl, stop. Like, I'm just saying it is what it is. And that's why these men aren't out here just handing out rings, because guess what? They don't have to, because they're not being required to. Other cultural groups like, white women, Asian women, Hispanic women, there's a requirement that they have, meaning that up front, it's communicated, hey, this is the expectation I have in this situation. Women, Black women, we will pop out all these babies on a girlfriend boyfriend title, and some of us ain't even got that. It's just somebody that slide through here and there. So sometimes we willing to give somebody a whole baby and we ain't even got no title. We willing to go out there and get tattoos and we ain't even got a title. So imagine if we had some type of standard about ourselves, how men would come at us differently. Because if they know, wow, I can't get what I want if I'm coming at her reckless. I gotta step my game up. Guess what? They will rise to the occasion. They will step their game up. They do it for women in other cultural groups. How often we see a Black man, wifing up a white woman. And you knew that you'd seen that Black man with a Black woman before. He had kids with her and everything, didn't wife her up, but he'll get with a white woman and wife her up. It comes from the expectation. Becky had the expectation of, listen, we're getting married. and Keith's like, okay, y'all, it's really not that deep, really. It's like up front. So get your pen and paper. Let me tell you how this thing go. You meet a man, you guys are dating. On the first date, during casual conversation, you can even talk about the things that you aspire to have in the future. And if that's marriage and children, throw that out there, because he may not be interested in one or the other, or if not both. So that, therefore, since it's put out on the table, you don't have to worry about, the idea of wasting your time where you're courting a man who doesn't want marriage or children. Because I always say a man will tell you. So if you say, hey, I would like to get married, have children, if that's not what he wants, he gonna say it. Nah, I'm really not interested in kids. I got some already, or no, I really don't want kids. He'll let you know. Because the reason why I say have this conversation early, so no one's wasting anybody's time, and you not learning this information maybe 6 months down the line, and now you're in your feelings because it's like, well, you didn't tell me you didn't want kids or want to get married. And he's like, okay, well, you didn't ask. A man will hit you with that. Well, you didn't ask, because you can't assume. I always tell ladies, don't assume anything with a man. You stop and ask what it is that that man wants, because a lot of times our feelings get hurt when we start assuming things, because he will definitely hit you with, that ain't what I told you. And you'll just be like, well, I thought, or you heard me talking about, I wanted. No, we can't do that out the gate. Listen, I want to get married. I would like it. It don't have to be, I want to marry you. You know, some people talk about, you know, they knew, okay, he the one, I want to marry him. You don't necessarily have to say that, but you can say, I would like to get married one day. I feel like, you know, I'm marriage material. I would like to get married one day. I'd like to have 2 kids. You know, what does the future look like for you? It can just be real casual, because when you stop and have conversations with people, you can learn so much. So these are conversations that are had outside of the bedroom. These are conversations that you have before you even go there, because the answers from these conversations can determine if whether or not you even take it to that next level. Because if you already know you're on the marriage tip, kids tip, and he's telling you he's not on either one of them, we're not even going to a bedroom. We're not going there, because we're not aligned. We're not wanting the same things. So you just finish up your date. Thank you. I enjoyed my time. And that's it. We're not about wasting our time. And so many people, so many ladies waste their time for whatever reason. Much of it is because a lot of times women, you know, they say, well, it took me so long to get here and I didn't want to be alone anymore, so I just tried to make it work. When does that ever work? When someone's saying they try to make it work? Most of the time you're hearing, you know, after it and they finally ended it, they were like, listen, I knew it wasn't working. I tried to make it work, because it doesn't work when you have to be trying. I'm in a marriage of 18 years. I'm not trying to make my marriage work. That is not my mindset. My mindset, okay, is I'm married, and daily we work at maintaining our marriage. It's no try. It's something that's a part of our being that comes natural. And that's how it should feel. Your relationship shouldn't feel like a job, like a stress. Like, it shouldn't feel that way. Yes, you go through ups and downs, but it should not feel consistently like it's a job, it's work, it's training. That's not how it's supposed to feel. If it's feeling that way, you need to do check-ins with one another to talk about that and figure out how you can fix whatever that needs to be fixed to relieve that pressure. Because what they say, stress, y'all know what they say about stress. Stress can take you up out of here. So that's why we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that stress, and we have to find how individually how we can manage stress, because people handle stress differently. You know, how I handle stress may be differently than how, you know, you handle stress, or maybe your spouse, how he handles stress. A lot of men play video games. You know, my husband, he'll game, you know, that's a stress reliever for him. So he's not one to go out to the clubs, be out in the streets. He'll play a game. He's just right there. I see him, you know, he's safe and sound at home. Whereas me, you know, I'll just get on YouTube and, you know, surf the internet, or I may go for a walk in my neighborhood. So you want to have something that's healthy, that's a stress reliever, and not have something that's going to be detrimental to your relationship. Because some people find what they call to be stress things that works against the relationship. And y'all know what that could be. You know, people stepping out and they going to other people and they were like, well, you know, I'm not stressed over there when I go to her house. So that's not healthy either. So you have to find a healthy way to de-stress. So I challenge you to do that today. Figure out how you can de-stress, because that's going to be the start of getting to that clear mind. So therefore you can take in these things that I tell you. That's why you have to make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because I regularly come on my channel to talk about just married life. And if you aspire to be married, how to go about doing that. So that's what I do over here. I teach people how to get married and how to identify that man who's marriage material, how to tell if he's into you like you're into him. Because of how many times you've been in a situation where it's been one-sided, where you felt like you was given more than what he was given, or maybe he was given more than what you were given because you guys weren't on the same wavelength. That happens, but that's why it's important to have these conversations with one another. So therefore you can address it, and it may result into you all saying, you know, we got to go our separate ways. This is not working. Because as they say, sometimes people come into your life for a season. So when something ends, we can't be you can be hurt, but we have to still not sit in that for too long to where we're left stagnant and we're not progressing in life, because some things do come to an end and it's okay. And more often than not, when you stop and reflect about that situation, it coming to an end was the best decision. No matter how much it hurts, and and you may start to kind of realize that after some time, but that's just usually the way it is. And a lot of times, I'd say more often than not, we come to a time where we'll be like, you know what? Yeah, it was good that ended. How many times have we said that? Yeah, I remember I was hurt when it happened, but now when I think about it, that was the best thing for me to move on, because now I'm doing this, that, and third, or now I met this person. Because if that person who's meant for you, like, he can't come into your life, like if you're distracted by something else. So sometimes, you'll be removed out of a situation to free you up. So therefore, that person who you're meant to be with can kind of step into the picture and you recognize him. How many times you may have experienced or heard someone else experience that they ended up getting into a relationship with someone that was around all along, like a friend or somebody who was just there, and they just never thought anything of it. And then finally one day, somebody said, hey, you cute, or I like you, and it turned into something. A lot of times that's because at that time when that person was in our life initially, we weren't ready to take in them. Maybe we didn't deserve to, maybe the Lord knew we had some work to do. So he was like, no, I'm not going to let you go on over there. You need to get yourself together before you can kind of go over there. So that's a real thing, because I believe in timing and things happening when they're supposed to happen. That's why, I myself had to learn that you can't rush things. Things have to happen organically, because they don't happen on our time. They happen on, God's time, on a higher power's time, or whatever your faith is. But a lot of times, like, we run around trying to control things. So like with this whole dating thing, we're trying to control it. Us ladies are trying to control it. And when I say us ladies, I'm just speaking, as a representation of just the women out here on this dating market. Because I feel your pain. I can't relate to it, but I feel your pain, because there's so many women out here talking about the struggles of dating. And many of those women, I can see that there's some things that I recognize that they can work on, and I don't maybe always get into those conversations with them about that, I'll go there if it's a conversation that I'm invited into. So I'll just go running around, just giving my opinion on you. But if you want to know my thoughts or get feedback, then that's what I'll do. And a lot of women who talk about their struggles when it comes to the dating market, they have visible things that they need to work on. Yeah. And whether or not they know it, I think most women know when they have things to work on. But I also think that most women are in denial about those things as well, because, it hurts. I think it bruises, our ego. It's just like, okay, I know I'm overweight, but I don't want to be told I'm overweight. Like, it is what it is. Like, but it's just, we just want to be safe and just be coddled. And listen, these men today, they like, listen, I'm not doing all that. And I don't feel like really they have to. And then they see that there's definitely what they say, there's always more women than men. They see they don't have to. Like, why I have to tell her she overweight, she need to lose weight? She look at herself every day. I'm just going to pass her up and go on to the next. Can you blame them? Like, think about it. Like, because 9 times out of 10, if he stop and tell you these things, you're going to snap on him. So he's like, listen, I'm just not going to deal with you altogether, because I know that if I tell you the truth, you're not going to be able to handle it. So that's why I choose to not even bother to date you. Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. So I think, that's what's happening with a lot of women who are by themselves and they don't understand really the why. Well, these men aren't even stopping to even just try to say hello to you, because they like, I don't even want to make eye contact, because I don't even want you to even get it twisted. I'm just not interested. But more often than not, when us women, when we stop and we get into ourselves and we do all that work to ourselves, we start seeing people come out the woodworks, showing interest. It's just like, dang, like, as soon as you step on the scene, the people are recognizing you. because they're seeing that growth. You'll have, you'll walk, with your head held high. You'll have a glow to you. If you lost weight, that's going to be visible, for people who knew you before. They'll be like, damn, we see you. But somebody who didn't know you before, they're just seeing you for the first time and you making a good first impression, so men are visual. Just like we talk about, what we like in men. And a lot of times we'll describe those things from a physical aspect, but it seems like we always talk about men being shallow and how they're physical and all that. But we're physical too. It's just that it's just okay. Society has made it okay for us to talk about those things, but men can't talk about those things. I'd be on YouTube and they'll be on their little channels talking about it, on there, but that's pretty much their safe space to talk about those things, because Lord forbids they mess around and put it out there on their Instagram or on their Facebook. Like they will, with cancel culture, like men can't say what they want to say, but we can say what we want to say all day long. And y'all know it's true. It's that double standard. It's almost like the same double standard of like how men can sleep around and say, oh, I was with 100 women, and it's like, okay, and we move on with life. But when a woman says it, it's just like, you clutch your invisible pearls. It's just the way it is. So there are double standards when it comes to things, between men and women. But I feel like we have to pick our battles, and we shouldn't spend a lot of time with trying to fight those things. We should just accept that, wow, this is just the way it is. And if we're wanting a different type of outcome, we have to move accordingly, because we can choose to be in denial all we want to, but at the same time, we have to be okay with the results that we're getting from choosing to be in denial. And I don't know nobody who's running around here winning by being in denial, because at some point in life, usually almost every woman will come and have that epiphany, even if it's on her in her last days, where she'll actually be able to outright openly admit, wow, I could have done some things differently. And it's unfortunate that a lot of times as women, we be so bullheaded and stubborn that it takes all that long for us to come to that point. Like, really? Like, it took you to 65 to realize that you wasn't a tough person to live with? After all these relationships that, dwindled, after even family member, people close to you have told you, now you want to acknowledge it? Listen, we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable. It starts there, and it's hard. And it's one of those things that I think with practice, it gets better, but it's something that you constantly, like, I feel like the accountability thing, I think it's something to me that it's daily, on a regular that I work at, with trying to be cognizant on how I come off, how people are receiving me. And because I may be perfectly fine with how I come off, but at the same time, I have to be fine with how people are perceiving me too. You can't have it both ways. Well, I ain't changing, but then I'm like, well, why is he always, saying he don't want to be around me? It's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't. I can't say I want to sit in my ways and remain the same, but then want to judge you by you choosing to not want to have any parts of me. It's not fair for me to say, well, you know how I am. How many times we heard somebody say that, or we've said that? Well, this is just how I am. So, I mean, I'm too old to be changing. I'm set in my ways. Like, sis, like, really? Like, so many of us do it. It's, we do it, and dating is just one area that we're impacted from having that type of attitude, mindset. It can impact really all aspects of our life, even just jobs. Like, people don't want to be around an unpleasant person, and they'll let it be known. They'll just not talk to you, and you'll be like, man, nobody talked to me. No, because you're not a nice person. Like, if people don't want to rock with you, they'll let you know. And it's not always going to be verbally. They'll let you know with their actions. You won't get invited to things. You'll be left out. You'll hear about it. You'll see someone post about it, but you won't get the invite because people don't want to be around you. So we have to stop and do those self-check-ins and ask ourselves, do I like myself? Would I want to be around me? And if that answer is no, then we got work to do. And as I say, work can come from counseling, getting a life coach, getting, signing up for a gym membership, having conversations with someone that we trust that's going to be honest with us and not just tell us what we want to hear or what we've been hearing, but somebody who's going to be like, well, listen, sis, I love you and all, but you can be rude at times. You can be selfish, and you might be like, what? But stop and listen, because I guarantee you, whatever this person says in those previous relationships, it came up before. And you acted like, well, ain't nobody ever told me that before. And they probably hadn't ever told you that before, but it don't mean it wasn't true. They just didn't tell you because they didn't feel comfortable telling you, or they thought that you was going to snap on them. So they just held back. So just because you never heard something before from, after someone tells you something, it doesn't mean that it's a lie. They could just very well be the first person who ever told you that, whoever told you the truth. How about that? Whoever told you the truth. As they say, the truth hurts. It does. It hurts. I'm no different than anybody else. It hurts. But I practice at it. It's something I work at daily with being okay and being comfortable with hearing the truth. So that's why I come to you all to tell you, hey, it can be done. It's a process and we have to work at it. We got to continue to do it regularly. So that's why you need to come on over here to Chic Speaks. I'm going to help get you together. We're going to get it together, because I want, any lady who wants to be married, I want her to be able to be married and experience that. But I also, most importantly, want her to choose that right person. And because I have been successful with doing that, there's certain things and characteristics that I know with how to identify that right person. And it's first going to start with that level of respect that they're coming to you with from the beginning. From the beginning, there's that respect there where they're making it apparent that they're wanting to be around and they're enjoying your company and they want to take you around other people, not keep you hidden. Some of you may have been in situations where you felt like you were hidden, where the person didn't take you around anybody, or he only came through for a Netflix and chill, then he was gone. Y'all know that's a real thing. There's men that will do that with certain women, where they'll have women that they'll parade around, and then they'll have that woman that they'll kind of keep, behind closed doors. Which woman do you want to be? I would encourage you to be that woman that's brought outside and also be the only woman. So we got to start with, with doing that check-in to see, hey, is this man feeling me like I'm feeling him? Let me have a conversation with him. Let me ask him what he think about, us being serious, how he feels about where things are going. Let's do a check-in. You're just doing a check-in like, hey, I'm feeling you. I really would like for this to, turn into something, be something serious, be exclusive. What do you think? And, go from there. Because so many of us, we don't stop to have that conversation. And after we've gotten pregnant, we learned that man didn't have any intent on making a life with us. He was just around for a good time. Around for a good time. Hey, Miss TJ, welcome. Thanks for showing up for the support. Haven't seen you in a minute. So listen, Miss TJ, I know because you got you a husband too. These men, they're looking for quality women. They're looking for quality women, and it's all about that figure and that face. They looking for a woman with substance. They looking for a woman that's got more to say than I'm the table. No, that's not flying by with these men today. These men, they like, you going with that. You can go somewhere with that. You talking about you the table? Well, it's a whole bunch of them out there. So if you as a woman are the table, there's more women than men. So they're like, we have an influx of tables. So I need more than the table. So, we got to go deep, and it starts with us putting in that work. We got to put that work in. And if you don't know what putting that work in looks like, find somebody who does. I definitely know what putting that work in looks like. I got a couple of ladies on this in the chat. Miss Veronica Ferris, Miss TJ Randolph. These are two ladies who are also married, who have platforms. They know what putting in that work look like. So we can teach you now. Miss TJ Randolph said, what meal can you put on the table? That part, like, if I hear I am the table one more time, because I guarantee you, like most women who are married, they're not running around saying I'm the table. I've never said that. I never even heard that before until this whole new dating culture thing where women are like, I am the table. And it's just like, what? Like, okay, help me understand what this means. Help me understand what this means, because, you know, when you're with someone, it's a partnership. See, yeah, you laugh and listen. It's a partnership, you know. Miss TJ, you know, it's a partnership. It has nothing to do with, okay, I'm the table, you the legs, that's the kids, the chair. The whole, you need all parts. Like I say, when you go and buy your furniture, you're getting the table and the chairs, everything come together. So the way I look at it is that you a throw rug, you a pillow, you on the ground, you on the floor. When you get that man and y'all become one, then that's when you got your table, your chairs, because now you got the whole set. So if you ain't got the man, oh, you ain't got no table, you're incomplete. You don't have that. You still on the floor. You don't have no furniture yet. So how do you have a table? Because the table is the main piece to the set. So if you haven't gotten a man, how you the table if the table the main piece and you don't even got the man yet and you saying I am the table? It don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Trust, it doesn't work that way, and men don't look at it that way. And you step to a man talking about I'm the table, I guarantee you, you're not getting that ring. Period. You're not going to be his one. You are not. I promise you that, sis. You are not the one. He walked away saying, "Nah, she ain't it." I guarantee you, he walking away thinking that. Miss TJ Randolph said, yes, and I'm the junior partner, just like in a law or accounting firm. Yes, like it's the mindset you got to have. You can't have this superior mindset. You have to have a mindset, you know, when you're going into the situation, a team, you have to have a mindset of, okay, I'm getting with this man and he's going to lead me. He's going to be my leader. He's going to be my protector. You know, he's going to be my confidant. He's going to be my hero. He's my king. Like this man, it's like he's life. He's life. He's who makes you feel safe. And if you're not with someone who can make you feel safe and secure, then that's how you know he's not the one. Because if you can't feel safe and secure with your partner, then you're in a bad situation, because your partner is supposed to hold you down before anybody else. Miss TJ Randolph said, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. People underestimate it. They don't know. I think we have so many people out here who speak about marriage and they talk about they want it, but they've never had it or even maybe seen it up close. So it's like they have this perception of what marriage is. And more often than not, I feel like it's a false perception because they're basing it on things that they see on the internet or reality TV. And it's false. It's not true. It's not real life. So they're basing it on that versus someone like us who are living that real life experience. Now, a lot of the ladies maybe don't have anyone close to them who are actually married. Because as I say, the stats for married in the Black community is really low. The last I checked, it was about 30%. That's not a lot at all. So a lot of women don't have anyone close in their circle who may be married. So they don't really know what it looks like. And I get that. But you can put the work in to find people who are doing it to learn. You have books out there. You got things that you can watch, like such on YouTube. Like there are people out here now who have whole channels dedicated to talking about these things and teaching you, such as myself. I'm a married woman of 18 years. I can teach you how to get married, what to look for in a man, how to know if he's worth your time. Like I can teach you all of that. And I understand a lot of you don't know how to identify those things. I understand, because you don't know what you don't know, but you have to put in that work to try to learn. Just like with anything else, ladies, we try to learn about how to put makeup on, how to put these wigs on, these lashes on. It's no different. Put in the work, learn. Listen to what these men are out here saying that they're looking for. Not all these men are asking for crazy things. Really, they're not, but I think as soon as we hear a man start talking about what he wants, we kind of want to turn, la. We don't want to hear it, because we're like, why are you asking this of me? Meanwhile, we got our whole laundry list of what we're looking for that man to come to the table with, but he can't do the same. So, child, these are the reasons why I kind of was delayed with kind of coming on this platform to speak about just marriage and trying to help ladies, because I feel like a lot of times that people are just so stuck in their ways and not wanting to change and put in the work, to where it's almost like sometimes it feels like it's a mute conversation to have, because people are like, no, I don't want to do all that. I just want to live and be me and, be the size that I am. And I just want him to love and accept me for who I am, period. And it's just like, okay, well, how's that working? I love that saying, Dr. Phil, somebody say something and he follow up with, well, how is that working for you? And more often than not, if they're honest with themselves, they'll say, well, I haven't, found the man yet. I haven't been, getting asked out on dates. Okay, well, are we ready to try something different? As TJ Randolph said, yes, and I learned late. Some people learn late. What they say, better late than never. But here's the thing about that. Statistics show the older you get, the lower your chances of getting married becomes. So you do have people who get married, 40s, 50s. You have those people, but it's smaller numbers than those who are, say, in their 20s and 30s. So that's what I'm saying. It's a numbers thing. So we have to be smart and we have to be strategic. And if you have the opportunity to learn these things early on, then that's what I'm always going to recommend. Learning these things and applying these things sooner rather than later. I've been married since I was 23 years old. I got married early. People, when they learn that, they be like, oh my God, that was so young. And it was young. But I just did what I felt at that time. It wasn't based off of any narrative or anything put out there saying, hey, you got to do this by this age or this by that age. I just found a great man. He asked me to marry him. I said yes. We got married and had 3 beautiful kids. That's my story. But now today, I'm hearing all these talks about the timeline. And when I think about this timeline that's being thrown out there as to an ideal time for a woman, as far as having the best chances of getting that husband and the children, I think, wow, that's the timeline I followed without even knowing I was following a particular timeline. It's like I was doing what I'm learning was the natural way of doing things. I just did it without thought, but how I did it is actually the recommended way of doing things. So I have a daughter, so I talk with her about, hey, when you get older, don't get tunnel vision, when you're in your 20s on just your education, work. If you meet, a man, that's quality that you love, that he'll seem like he'll be a good husband, go ahead and go with that. Don't put that off. Because time is not on our side. I think a lot of times, especially as us women, we're guilty of thinking that we got all the time in the world. So that means, we look at ourselves every day. Oh, okay, I still look fly. I can still get a man. I'm still finna, do my thing. And then at 35, it's like, okay, I'm ready to get married and have children. Yeah, I still look good. But to these men, they're like, well, yeah, I mean, you look good, but it's some other ladies out here, who are younger, who look good too, or, who are still able to have children, or, who haven't had children yet. So, I don't have to deal with the baby daddy. Like, these men are having requirements, and these women are like, what do you mean you got requirements? You know who I am? TJ, you say that part. Listen, these women out here are pissed off. They're like, what you mean? You've been chasing after me for 20 years. What do you mean? I'm just saying you can have me now. He's like, well, I mean, I used to want you, I come through every now and then, but I don't really want you like that. And, it's a bruise to the women's ego. It's just like, dang, I should have got him, I should have got him back when, he was first trying to holler at me. But now it's just like, he not checking for me like that no more. Miss TJ Randolph said, yes, it's possible, but not probable the older you get. Yep. As I say, many things can be done, but just because something can be done, it doesn't mean that that's the recommended way of doing things. I always, think about the comedian Chris Rock saying a blind person could drive, but that don't mean that it's meant to be damn done, So I like when he said that, because there are so many things that can be done, but it doesn't mean that that's the ideal way to do it. Like, we have to use common sense and think like logical, like, okay, if I know I want kids one day, I probably got to think about settling down and identifying a husband well before 35. Like, I really want to try to probably be kind of doing that no later than about 27. Like, we have to think like that, because that's what the other cultural groups, I believe the average white woman, I think she's married at by 27. Yeah, I think from last I knew, I think a white woman that on average, she gets married at about 27 years old. And y'all know they get married. They are married in far higher numbers than not. We are the group of people that don't get married. And we have, I think, like 80% of our babies are born out of wedlock, the last I checked. So that's crazy. Like, most of our babies are born out of wedlock. So that means that the babies are born into either just a single parent home, or if there is a father there, he's maybe kind of coming in and out, or it's very likely that not long later after the child is born, he's going to leave. So look, it's just not something that I recommend. Definitely, listen, ladies, we just got to just do that work early on when we're dating these men, to identify whether or not there's somebody who's in it for the long haul and not in it for just a little rendezvous. No, we can't be doing that. We can't be doing that. We've spent years of doing that. It's time that we switch gears and try something different, because what we've been doing hasn't been working. And as they say, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And that's where I feel we are. Listen, that's what I got for y'all. Please, thank you for those who did show up, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have the notification bell on and drop a comment. I just love to know your thoughts on this conversation. Like, listen, what's your story about married life with the whole dating scene? Are you here for it? Are you like, it is trash, chic. It is trash. Like, I mean, again, I come over here. I'm on this channel, Chic Speaks, just talking to the ladies about married life and how to get married, because it can be done. I am the first to say I am no different. I am not special. I am just a woman who moved with intent from an early age. It all starts with the mindset. I've always had a mindset to just be strategic and intentional about the things that I do. And when you do that, you're more likely to win, because it was a thought process. You had a game plan. You weren't just out here doing things all willy-nilly. You got to have a plan. And when you're in this dating scene, you have to approach it the same way. We got to move it up. We got to do things differently. We got to change the scene. You might even need to change your appearance. If you're looking like many other ladies with maybe the 18-inch wigs and the lashes and long nails, switch it up and do something different. Change up your hair, maybe wear your natural hair out. Just do something different where maybe you're not blending in with the masses. Because, let's face it, a lot of the ladies today, they're looking alike now. They all have the long hair and the lashes and the long nails, the heavy makeup, down to the same pose on the gram. And it's just like, wow, it's like this cookie cutter look. So they're not standing out, because as they say, once you've seen one, don't getting the butts done. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. So do something that's going to set you apart, that make you stand out. So when you walk in a room, you're going to turn heads, because you're not going to look like probably the other 10 people, the other 10 women in the room. So that's something to kind of keep in mind too, as you're navigating through this dating scene. I think that can really make a difference, because many of us are well due for a makeover. We're well due for a makeover, and it can just be the simplest things, with changing our hair to changing our wardrobe, putting a dress on, showing a little leg, putting some heels on, just little things, there's little things that we can do to spruce things up and change it up. So just do your research like anything else, do your research, and I'm here to help. So you can also find me, please follow me also on Instagram at chic.speaks. So I go over there, and TikTok. I have, you can follow me on TikTok at Chic Speaks. But yes, it's been a pleasure being on here talking to you all about this whole dating culture, because sis had a lot to say. For any of you who joined late, definitely catch the playback, because I shared some videos with the people out here in these on the dating scene saying, listen, it's rough out here, but it's rough. It's rough. And I believe them. I feel for them. But listen, the change starts within. We have to be the change we want to see. So until the next time, peace.